Hello and welcome to the Westcity Church podcast. If you'd like to get to know us more, find us at westcitychurch.com.au. We really hope that you're encouraged by today's message.
A clap and being told I'm a Christmas tree. What a morning. Aaron, I don't think I've had that description before, so I will take that. Good morning, everyone. I don't want to rush us immediately into talking because I feel like that space of what it means to have a good father is pretty special. And I'm imagining that that's possibly speaking to different things in you. So I'll get to where I'm going in a second, but I think don't dismiss a voice if you're hearing it now about your good father and what he thinks of you. Hold tight to that. Today, I get to talk about walking together in pilgrimage. That's a beautiful topic and I am stoked that I get to do it. And what I want to do is take us on a little bit of a journey of one, what might that look like? And two, I think, how do we look to God in doing that? But I want to start with a couple of stories. So I don't know about you, but I strive very hard to do things well, to do them with the best intentions, to do it the best way possible. Maybe that's pathological, I'm not sure. But I want, with every fibre in my being, to commit to excellence and the right way. So imagine my surprise when I discover alternative ways of doing things. It's like mind-blowing. And I want to share two examples where my mind has been well and truly blown. And the first is, and I will give you a demonstration of this one. I was 13. I was staying with a friend and she was, after swimming, she was putting a T-shirt on. And she commences to put it on inside out and back to front. There's a right way to do things, right? So I say, sorry, Tamara, you're putting your T-shirt on inside out and back to front. And she dismissed my comment like it was nothing. She didn't even acknowledge it. She just went, and proceeds to put the T-shirt on inside out and back to front, but in a way that it becomes right-sided. My mind was blown. Okay, so I'm going to give you a visual demonstration, and if you know how to do this, welcome to the club. I know, right? That's messed up my hair and everything. See? It's changed my life, people. For my beautiful mother, who has, I think, chagrined at my life of not putting my T-shirts on right-sided, like not folding them inside out in the right way when I put them away. This is why, because you don't need to. The second was much later in life, a few years ago. I was staying with a friend who made me a coffee and she was heating up my milk in the microwave to make a latte. And she gets out her egg whisk and she puts it in the cup of hot milk and she proceeds to not whisk it. She rolls it between her hands and in a minute it was piping hot steamed foamy milk. And yeah, I know, but I didn't know that. For those of you, MJ went, isn't that how you do it? So the point is, yes, like mind blown when we experience and discover things that are outside of perhaps what we know, what we imagine, or what we feel to be true. And I had an intellectual mind-blown mic drop moment earlier this year when I read this statement on an Instagram post of all places. My question was, are we looking for relief from the dark or a revelation from God in the dark? Just going to read that again. Are we looking for relief from the dark or a revelation from God in the dark? That might not be a big deal for you. That's a pretty big deal for me. I feel like it's summarised so much of what both my journey but my struggle had been over, I'm going to say a decade, of not finding relief and actually making relief my pursuit of God, because I thought that I needed relief from things in order to experience or know God. And so not finding relief, well then where was God? Who was God? What did he look like? I have chronic illness and chronic pain, have for most of my life, certainly most of my adult life. Lots of seeking, lots of searching, and I think obviously there's need for relief in those spaces, right? But certainly we can look around us in this community and in the broader community and see people who never see relief from their, physical or mental anguish or struggle. I wasn't seeing resolution or relief or soothing for any of my, or many, should I say, of my personal journey and struggles. I stand before you as a very proud, middle-aged woman, very happy to be middle-aged. I'm in Middle Earth, people. Amen for those who can join me. And I never thought that I would be standing here alone. I thought that my story and my longing was that I would do that with a partner and that I would have a family. And that was probably one of my biggest desires, was to be a mum. And so I'm not just at that point where you can say, don't worry, Dawn, it'll happen. I'm not able to have kids. It's done. And such anguish in that space, and I'm not saying that lightly because I know that that's a very real struggle for many people. I'm making light of it because perhaps that's one of my coping strategies. There is a lot of pain and a lot of grief and a lot of hurt in that space. There's a lot of rejection from the church and from people who don't know how to hold those spaces, right? Unconscious insensitivities about really precious and private and sensitive things. And I know that's not just for me, that's for so many of us who hold things that we don't know how to collectively journey with. And that's kind of where I'm going. I promise I'm getting there. But in that space of crying out to God, in darkness, of where are you? What is your story for my life when I can't see it? Everything that I've imagined and hoped for and dreamed of feels broken and dark and diminished. God, where are you? I am privileged to do a job that takes me all around the world, but to the darkest of places, to the dimmest of lights, where I see the worst atrocities. I talk to people, I am privileged to talk to ministers and people in countries who I know are responsible for genocide and for atrocities. And I'm looking at these people in the eyes thinking, I cannot see any of Jesus here in you, but I know you're a child of God. I might want to punch you in the face, but I know, God, that you're here. I can't see you, I can't feel you, I can't touch you, I can't taste you, because the darkness of those spaces feels impermeable. And so I'm looking for soothing. I want relief. I want to feel the salve on my wounds. Don't we all? We, in those spaces of darkness, those spaces of longing, disappointment, heartbreak, confusion, and exhaustion, are telling me that God is not only not present, but He's not enough. How could He be present when those places of darkness, when that very broken and often unresolvable things around me aren't being soothed or aren't soothable? How could He be present there? How could He be enough when I just can't see, I can't feel Him working, I can't hear Him in the ways that I either have in the past or feel like I should be able to now? Relief. Year on year on year of seeking relief felt to me, and not getting it felt like perhaps the biggest black hole of faith that I could possibly not climb out of. So I'm going to go back to that line. Are we looking for relief from the dark or a revelation from God in the dark? The person that wrote that question is Anne Voskamp, who is a biblical scholar, a Christian writer. I often find her writing a little bit hard to follow, but this for me was so to the point. So let me read what she wrote around that. The real danger in the dark is to let the darkness and the fear and the loneliness and the worry and the hurt and the heartbreak and the shame disorient us so that instead of looking for revelation, we look for relief. In every dark stretch of road, that's always the question. Are we looking for some kind of relief in the dark, or are we looking for a revelation from God in that dark? When you are just looking for relief in the dark, turns out you don't really find any lasting relief. And so I've shared my story, but I want to talk about what that might look like when you combine multiples of my stories, when you combine your stories with your stories, with your stories, with my story, and we have a collective that we call this Christian community, and we say that we're walking together in pilgrimage. What might that look like? Yeah, I know, it's a bit like, okay, how the heck are we going to do that? We've gone deep into the spiritual, personal and biblical spaces of pilgrimage over this last year. And if you haven't had the opportunity, I would say please go and listen to some of those podcasts, because they're quite remarkable in the encouragement that it offers us in order what it means to be a collective on pilgrimage. But I want to go a little bit further with what that collective space might look like. And how do we walk together in pilgrimage? I'm going to go to what I think is maybe a counterintuitive space, which is Jesus in the boat calming the storm. So many references in the Bible about mountains and valleys and walking together. This one just struck me as quite perfect. So let me read it. That day, when evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." So I think he'd been talking to thousands of people, and they were in the boat, and so they were going to go to the other side of the lake for a bit of rest. Leaving the crowd behind, they took Jesus just as he was in the boat. There were other boats around, and a furious storm came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care if we drown?" What are you picturing here? I've got a riot of pictures in my head. One is someone standing over the back being disastrously ill. Another is someone curled up in the fetal position somewhere under some sort of cover. I'm imagining people probably being distressed to the point of quarrelling, right? I'm imagining a disagreement of, you should have done this, we shouldn't have done that, why are we in this situation? I'm picturing someone actually climbing overboard to get out. I'm picturing quite a chaotic sense of individuals having a reaction to what probably is quite a traumatic time and operating out of their own fright, flight, freeze, paradigm. I'm imagining is that even in the collective small space of the boat, in the middle of the hurricane, that individual journeys are being represented and lived out. We might not walk alone in the collective that we call this Christian journey, but we bring our own stories, our own valleys and our own mountains and our own storms to that walking collectively. And the tension in all of that is, how do we do that together? How do we bring safety and security to each other in our what is probably limited interactions, right? Some of you I've never met before. Some of you I might have said hello to. Some of you I probably know much better, and the same vice versa in this space. And the same outside of this space in our broader Christian community. How do we not have the relief that we want to bring a quick fix to someone when we're journeying with them in a way that's more superficial, or that the relief or the quick fix is our only solution to offering relationship with each other in the valleys and the mountains. I think it in part comes down to being able to look to revelation as well as to relief, because I think there's space for both of those things, right? So let's go back to Mark and Jesus' response to, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Jesus got up, he rebuked the wind, and he said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. He said to the disciples, "Why were you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and they asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. So Jesus didn't just provide the fix. He didn't just provide relief. He did provide it, but it wasn't the only thing that he did. He addressed what was at the heart of their question of, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Their fear and their uncertainty about who Jesus was. There was absolutely fear and uncertainty about the storm, but it was a lot about what was Jesus not doing or doing in regards to the storm raging around them. And so right there was the rescue that Jesus actually provided, because he provided revelation about himself. He provided revelation that the God of miracles, who the wind and the waves obey, was not only present, but was trustable. Yes, we absolutely need physical and spiritual release and rescue from dangers in our lives, from traumas of our lives. And yes, there is often the need and the shape for us to be that relief and rescue and remedy for each other. As a church, as a community, we have mechanisms that we do that. We have our common purse. We have our small group connections. We have different ways that we not only engage with each other, but meet the needs of those around us. But if we stop at just meeting needs and we don't go further to seeking revelation for and with each other, then we're missing the moments that God truly inhabits outside of our own human capacities, right? Because what makes us a community is not about what I can humanly do or you can humanly do. It is about the revelation of the God of miracles that the wind and the waves obey, that's beyond our everyday. Anne Voskamp goes on to say, when you keep looking for a fresh revelation of God through the dark, turns out you find the only real light that actually lasts. Am I turning toward relief from the dark or a revelation of God in the dark? Only one can blind all of the dark with the light of hope. So, may today we be able to offer each other the gift of seeking revelation from God as we journey together in the go of Christ. Now, for those of you that don't know, every Sunday, and Asher, I might ask you if you could pop up the benediction, the go for us. We say these words together, and Sarah's going to read them for us at the end. But we say this, we acknowledge today that we have come together to be reminded of the go in Christ. And what we're saying is, we'll go and feed the hungry. We'll go and clothe the naked. We'll go and fight for justice. We'll go and end oppression. We'll go and proclaim anew the old story. We'll go and reach those who are running from God and God's church. We'll go and associate with those who don't look like us, talk like us, don't act like us, even don't like us. And we'll do it all in the name of the one who sent us. His name is Jesus. I'm reading them deliberately because I think we can say those words really casually and repetitively without what they actually mean penetrating to the very core of us. Because the go of Christ is to go and meet the needs of those around us and be the community of Christ. But it is to seek revelation of God about the one whose name is Jesus. I'm not suggesting that we seek to change how we be the light of hope as this community. I am suggesting that there is more for us as often a collection of random strangers when we make the main game, revelation, and not relief. That is absolutely true for my individual journey. It was a game changer to not see relief as my holy grail, but to see the revelation of God in my life, through my life, with others around my life, as the seeking of my journey, as this wayfinding as I go forward. When I think about what it takes to keep climbing that mountain, to keep crossing that ocean, to keep walking through mud with all of you, I know that our hope in seeing and experiencing God for who he truly, truly is lies fully in having him revealed to us over and over and over again. It lies in us seeking that revelation and that mystery. So my prayer is that we can gift that to each other over and over and over and over and over again. I'm going to pray. Heavenly Father, the complexities of our lives are not simple and not solvable often through human understanding. We find ourselves in places and spaces that aren't fixable, that shouldn't be fixed, that we shouldn't try and wrap ribbons around. Yet, precious Jesus, in those spaces, you have for us your truth, your life, your grace, your redemption, your healing, your wholeness, and your ever, ever constant presence. And so as a group of believers, as a community that is seeking to see your kingdom come on earth, we choose to commit to that path of revelation as we journey together, as we pilgrimage in this space together. That we would fix our faces to you for your glory, for your story, for your mystery to be revealed to us. We seek these things in your precious name. Amen.
How good was that message? Thank you so much for joining us. Each week at Westcity, we say a benediction together. We do this because we believe that the purpose of the church is to be a caring community for the world, and that as we go and serve others, we enter into Christ's work of welcome, restoration and healing, both for us and others. We believe that in doing so, we get to see and encounter Christ. So let's say the benediction together. We come together as the church to be reminded of the go of Christ. So we will go out and feed the hungry, go out and clothe the naked, go out and fight for justice, go out and end oppression, go out and proclaim anew the old story, go out and associate with those who don't look like us, think like us, act like us, and don't even like us. And we'll do it all in the name of the one who sent us. His name is Jesus.